very torn at the moment. I'm in this quite amazing bit of semi-ancient woodland. I think historically it would have been ancient, but now it's been planted up with some of these sort of spruce and spruce, pine. So there's a bit of a plantation here, but I don't know if you can see from there. You will have seen on some of that footage as I was coming in. All in that direction, we've got some amazing silver birch trees, which are sort of quite wiggly as they go up, but they're very uniform. So there's definitely a photo there. I mean, this is actually somewhere that I run quite regularly, so I've been keeping my eye on this location. The path that I run along is sort of just down there, so keeping my eye on it as the sort of leaves are changing. First of all, it was the bracken, and now you can see some of these gorgeous beech trees starting to change as well. Some of the trees are still quite green, beginning of November now, so the conditions are sort of getting towards peak autumn colour. So yeah, there's definitely some photos in that direction where you've got the silver birch, and then also sort of behind the camera there's definitely photos in that direction as well, because we've got these very uniform pine and spruce trees coming out along this hillside, and we've also got just a carpet of bracken, which is this gorgeous sort of rusty colour at the moment, and then dotted around there's some really nice pockets of colour with the beech trees. So definitely a photo here, if not several, but it's really difficult to try and make up my mind at the moment in terms of which shot I'm going to try and get this evening. It's about 3:30 now, so sun will be setting in, well, about half an hour really. It's like I say, it's November now, so the sun does start to set quite early. So let's get cracking, see if we can work out a composition. I'm going to just take a wander around with my camera. So I've got the A6700 here by Sony with the Tamron 18-300. This is my go-to woodland setup at the moment, and I'm loving it. So this means that I can keep this one lens on and go all the way from quite wide at 18mm, so in full frame terms that's 28, and go all the way into 300mm, and then in full frame terms that's 450, so all in one lens. So yeah, I am loving this setup. Anyway, let's crack on, see what we can do. We are losing the light a little bit. It's fairly overcast, so I'm not expecting any sort of colours in the sky or anything like that for sunset, but we should be able to get a shot here nonetheless. I'm thinking it's probably more likely to be in that direction with the silver birch, because it's just a bit brighter over that way. When you go in that direction towards the pine and spruce plantation, it is just quite dark, and I think it would benefit a lot more from some side lighting on a bit of a sunnier day. So yeah, I think I'll go for this soft composition in this direction. Let's get cracking. Right, so now comes the hard part. I've essentially found myself quite a good little spot here. What I've been trying to look for, I've been fighting my way through this bracken for the past, I don't know, 10 minutes, basically trying to find a bit of a vantage point where there's quite a bit of a clearing directly in front of me, and then there's a load of nice silver birch in the distance, sort of from mid-ground to infinity, basically. I also am looking completely as far away from the camera as possible, along the horizon there. It's probably hard to work out with the wide-angle lens on there, but basically I want a nice wall of colour in the very background. Now that's going to ideally be a little bit blurred out of focus, so you shouldn't be able to make out any of the details in the back there, but what I want is just a nice wall of colour, which I've got there. You can probably see, if I take a step back, there's a bit more sky over to the left there, so I want to sort of exclude that, and I'm sort of looking in that direction there. So that is essentially what I'm going to shoot. I just got to work out exactly how to do it. So with woodland photography, one of the main things that I'm going to try and do with this is essentially to make sure there's quite nice even gaps in between all of the main trees. Now there's probably, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 trees there, so I'm never going to get it perfect. It's never going to be completely, 2 centimetre gaps in between each tree, but I'm going to do what I can. And as long as the ones in the foreground, or the mid-ground should I say, as long as those ones are nice and balanced and not crisscrossing each other, then I think we should be onto a winner here. Like I said, I've been running past this spot for about 6 months, and I've been keeping my eye on these silver birch trees. It's a shame because I don't know if you can see, but I'll probably put some B-roll over this, but basically some of the birch trees are a really nice yellow. They're exactly how I want them to be. Some of them are still quite green, and then other ones have lost their leaves completely, so there's not a lot you can really do with that. I mean, it's just nature at the end of the day. Some of them are going to have access to different nutrient levels and different chemicals in the soil that are going to make their leaves turn at different rates. So yes, I will spend some time here perfecting the composition. A lot of it comes down to sort of hand holding, and I don't know if you could see me before, but it's sort of this sort of swaying from side to side, and really just looking at the trees and seeing how they react to each other. How, if you go to the left, then some of the trees might be a bit too bunched up, and then if you go to the right, you might be doing the same thing in the other direction. So essentially I want to get it as close to perfect as possible. So yeah, I'll spend some time just tinkering, making sure I've got it to how I want it to be. But yeah, it's the conditions are there. It's looking good. I mean, some lovely mist rolling through wouldn't hurt, but we have got quite nice balanced light all the way across the scene. So it means that these silver birch stems are basically not going to get blown out with the highlights, because on a bright sunny day, those silver birch stems are just going to be, completely white. So then it makes it a really tricky scene to photograph. So I think we should get something really nice here. Yeah, right. Better get on. So as you can see, I've got the camera set up there now. I think I've got a composition that I'm fairly happy with. I've been working on it for about 15 minutes or so. The next and probably final piece of the puzzle, because the light is fading, I mean, to be honest with you, I could spend all day in here literally just walking around, and every few paces the composition just changes. So I could probably spend, at least a day. But I do intend to be back, because some of these leaves have a little bit further to change, so I can come back. It's fairly easy for me to get to. There's not far of a walk. It's probably about a 10-minute walk from where I parked. So anyway, the last piece of the puzzle is going to be just seeing whether a polarizer helps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the lens hood. I can do that now. There we go. Yeah, and then I'll just put a polarizer on there, see whether any of the colours come out a little bit more. I think they might, especially the ferns. The ferns definitely have quite a sheen on them, and I think they are sort of reflecting some of that light. So let's see if the polarizer helps. Other than that, there's not a lot more I can really do. I mean, what is the time? It's 4:10. It's going to be dark any minute now, really, so I can't really go crazy and see if I can find another composition, because realistically I'm just going to run out of time. So yeah, I'll see what I can do with this, call it a day, and let's see if the composition turns out all right. I think it will. Good for the first visit here doing photography. Like I said, I've been here so many times, but never with the camera. So yeah, let's see how it turns out. Cool. Whoop. Right, I'll try and be quick, because as you can see, the battery is about to be exhausted on my main camera. So I'll just quickly show you the effect of the polarization. I mean, as I suspected, it is mainly showing up in the ferns. So that's unpolarized at the moment. So the ferns are taking on much more of a blue tint, and then as you turn it, there we go. At full polarization, it's just makes all of those ferns much more red. So essentially, any of that light that's coming down from the sky, because it is quite blue up there. Where are we? So all of that blue light that's coming down from the sky is sort of hitting these ferns, and the ferns are taking on some of that colour in the reflection as the leaves are wet. So basically using that polarizer just cuts out that reflection and makes sure the image is just as saturated as possible, basically, which is ideally what you want with most autumn photography. So yeah, that was a good step. I mean, I'll see how they look in Lightroom when I get home, but essentially, yeah, that's probably what I'm going to do. Right, so I've now packed up. I mean, the light was just fading really quickly, and it ended up being a case of I was shooting with like a 13-second exposure, which ultimately meant that there was a little bit of motion blur in some of the leaves, which wasn't really ideal. Don't know if you can hear that plane going over. Just wait a second. So I was shooting at slow shutter speeds. The light's fading. It's pretty much blue hour now, I'd say. So it ended up being one to wait for another day. As I've come back and fought my way through all of this bracken, let's spin it around so you can see, yeah, all of this bracken behind me, I have sort of noticed that I perhaps was a bit too high up on the hill, which meant that there wasn't much of the, well, there was plenty of bracken in the photo, but I'll see if I can. So from down here, I feel like you can just get so much more in the frame. You know, you can get that whole hillside, and obviously, you know, I don't really want too much sky in the photo, but you should be able to get a good frame from here. So I'm back on the path now, so didn't potentially need to go through all of that bracken, but it's okay. I'm back. Yeah, I'm happy with the shot I got. I think I made the most of it while I had that little bit of light. I definitely made the right call not going into that dense pine and pine and spruce. It got dark really, really quickly, and in there it will have just been pitch black by now. So yeah, that's definitely a shot for when there's some nice side lighting coming through. So early evening, late afternoon sort of thing. So there's something there. Got to get it quick though, because the leaves are changing. But like I said, it's a really good location. It's somewhere that I can drive to fairly easily, and I can park up. I can come in here within 10 minutes. I can be where I need to be. I would have liked another hour probably today to scout around a little bit and make sure I was happy with my composition, because I did rush it a little bit, but that's to be expected when you've got, you know, very limited light. Anyway, I'm happy with what I got. I'll put that up on screen now, and hopefully you guys like it too. So yeah, if I do decide to come back and the video seems short enough, I may tack the next visit onto this video. So if I come back, see you in a minute on another day. If I don't come back, then call it the end of the video and I'll say bye. So yeah, I will do my outro now. So thank you everyone for watching. I'm Josh. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing for anything to do with landscape photography, nature photography. I'll be doing lots more videos like this, and hopefully we'll get some more stuff in the autumn, because this is my favourite season. Oh, there's an owl going past. Very cool. They've been calling for a little while. Anyway, I will see you again. Thank you. Bye. Whoop.